Influencers. We follow them as they go about their lives, and we witness their ups and downs. But what happens when they try to mess with the wrong people? We start with the tragic story of a mere teenager losing his life to the gun of a notorious drug lord. Juan Luis Languanas Rosales is better known as the Pirate of Culiacan by those who knew him both in real life and online. He was born in the Mexican state of Sinaloa, which is widely known as an epicenter of drug and cartel activity. He would stay in his hometown until the age of 15, when he would leave high school and move to the municipality of Culiacan. There, he would start washing cars and gain his nickname. The reason he gained fame online is rather tragic. He would film himself chugging alcohol, and often it would lead to him passing out. In 2 years, he became an online sensation, gaining over 1 million followers on Facebook and around 300,000 on Instagram. There is something perverse in his rise to fame. He had a rather childish look to him. In an attempt to look older, he drew on a beard and tattooed his arms. The legal drinking age in Mexico is 18, but the pirate drank like there was no limit. He lived from party to party, and when he wasn't partying, he was taking pictures of himself with luxury cars and women to post on his social media. It's sad to think about the fact that no one was laughing with him. They were all laughing at him. All of his so-called friends were only around him as a way to be seen. If a person has no true friends, they are doomed from the start. He had no one there to take him to the side and talk some sense into him. Perhaps if someone truly cared for his well-being, he would have lived to see his 18th birthday. In the video that was posted online, the pirate commented on the infamous drug lord elmencho. This comment clearly ruffled some feathers, as only a short while later, the pirate and his friends were attacked by armed individuals in a bar. Juan was shot 15 to 18 times. The police only managed to identify him by his tattoos. Nobody came to the morgue to claim the body. It is unknown who carried out the attack, but it is widely acknowledged to be some of elmencho's men, since the attack happened so close to the release of the infamous video that cost the young man his life. Elmencho hasn't been seen in a long time. He likes to be out of the public's view. He hasn't been caught despite his use of violent tactics. There is a working theory that he has built himself a clinic in a rural part of Mexico to treat his ongoing kidney disease. Some believe that he actually died sometime in 2022. This rumor has been investigated by the Mexican government, but there is no concrete evidence. Elmencho's group, called the New Generation, is relatively new, but very quickly made ties in the underground world and committed an absurd amount of murders. From drugs to weapons, this cartel worked with all of it. The Jalisco New Generation cartel has killed judges, congressmen, dozens of police officers, and thousands of civilians. Unlike the cartels of Pablo Escobar's Colombia, the New Generation cartel avoids the assassination of state and federal officials, aiming only for local politicians. This way, they avoid clashing with the state, and besides, they have found a better way of getting what they want, in the form of bribery. Because of them, Mexico has seen a drastic rise in the frequency of mass shootings, which don't only involve gang members but civilians as well. Even during 2020, at the height of the coronavirus pandemic, most Mexicans didn't fear the disease, but feared the cartels, which were much more deadly. In the fight for drug routes, the cartels left behind a trail of bodies, and it doesn't seem as though it will stop anytime soon. They are no strangers to the world of influences and their culture, as they have been involved with them before. Rodolfo Fofo Marquez had a famous run-in with the New Generation over the blockade of a bridge. Fofo is a famous Mexican influencer who gained his popularity for one simple reason: he was wealthy. There is something to be said about our obsession with people who have more than us, at least materially. He has a charismatic personality, and thousands watched him as he showed off his million-dollar mansions and expensive cars. But all of that money won't save you when you mess with a cartel, or the law either. In July 2022, he blocked the Matute-Remus Bridge with at least 4 luxury cars. It was done for a 13-second TikTok video, with which he wanted to prove what money could do in Mexico.
Llevamos varios minutos aquí, voy a hacer unos pequeños TikTok.
After seeing this video, the new generation cartel issued a warning to Fofo, in which they threatened to kidnap him. They made sure that he would stay away from their territory, and that the only person who could manipulate the state of roads and communication routes in Mexico was their leader elmencho. Although this short blockade did not actually bring any great disturbance to the flow of traffic, it is important for these cartels to show who holds power in the country. It is not the rich but the violent who can control the way things operate. This is a lesson that everyone in Mexico learns at one point or another. 2 years later, Fofo would go on from being threatened by criminals to being one himself. In April 2024, he assaulted a woman in a supermarket parking lot, beating her until she bled. The crime was caught on nearby security cameras, so his involvement is irrefutable. He is currently behind bars, serving his sentence for the assault. This is unfortunately not an isolated event, as he had also beat up an elderly woman, which led to an arrest. If you're enjoying the video so far, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. The crimes committed against women in Mexico do not stop there. In 2018, a journalist and social media satirist, Leslie Ann Pamela Montenegro, met her end at the hands of 2 unidentified assailants. She was widely known as La Nana Peculos, her online persona. The 36-year-old journalist ran a satirical YouTube channel and an online news magazine called El Silin. In this online magazine, Pamela touched on many topics, but her main stories mostly consisted of her criticizing local politicians or praising those that she supported. Montenegro received threats sometime before her death, which said that her publications had put her in view of someone. It wasn't stated which politician was offended by her publication. This was not the first time Montenegro and her husband had been threatened by criminal organizations. In 2016, a number of banners were put up around the city of Acapulco, which threatened Montenegro among many others. They accused her of being one of the administrators of a group where you could report crimes, corruption, violence, and the abuse of power. This was later to be proven true, with the last post appearing sometime in October 2017. Investigators on the case found that only a few hours after the murder of Montenegro had been committed, the perpetrator had used the same weapon to attack a crane worker. This proved to be a key in solving the case. It is now known that the crime had been committed by individuals from organized crime groups, but it had been offered by someone on the city council. We cannot forget that Montenegro was a journalist. She wasn't some run-of-the-mill influencer. She reported on the local news and the political state of her surroundings. Journalists tend to be on the metaphorical chopping block when it comes to cartels, politicians, and practically anyone who doesn't like to hear the opinions of others, or the truth. Free speech is clearly only an idea, as yes, you can say something, but there will be repercussions whether you like it or not. Journalists all around the world have put themselves in harm's way for decades because they want to show you reality. We can only hope that in the future the rights and protections of journalists will take center stage. Let's only hope that Leslie Ann Pamela Montenegro didn't pass for nothing. These people had something in common. They all said the wrong thing about the wrong person or stood in the way of certain organizations. We all have our reasons for doing this or that, but you can never be too careful when it comes to your online presence. Don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments down below. It helps us keep creating entertaining content.